G'day and welcome to Daily Insights and Storytellings with me, Moon Willow. Before we jump into it, I'd like to just remind you all to hit that subscribe button. And if you enjoy the storytelling, please hit the thumbs up or thumbs down if you didn't. If you have any queries, please feel free to put it in the chat box and I will endeavour to answer any questions. Equally, if you would like a reading individualised or storytelling for yourself, my website is www.moonwillow.net, and I will put a link in the description box so you can link through and get in contact with me. I've recently been asked whether I can tell the future within these readings, and I felt the need to sort of respond to that today. My belief is that, and certainly the way that I read, because I read more in a psychotherapeutic way, the storytellings that I do, is about where we're sitting at the moment. It's not and that has an impact on where we're going. So by the storytellings and unpacking and unpicking what might be going off in the energies at the moment, you have more of an understanding and you can actually make more clear decisions as to how you're going to lead forward. I had a reading done probably about 28, 29 years ago, and in that particular reading that this lady did for me, she let me know that by Christmas, I was going to be on a train heading up to Scotland with a glass of champagne. I'm still waiting. And I've watched over the years as well other people that I've known that have gone for readings, and because the person they went to see let them know that they would be with a child and that they would be living in a certain way, their subconscious actually set it up so that would happen. So if I try and give information about what's going off in the future, we have this ability to then create it, that it becomes real, that we try, not consciously, I don't believe it's a conscious thing, but I think our subconscious, and I think I was talking yesterday about energetics, that what we put out on an unconscious level is what we attract into our lives. So if we're informed that something's going to happen, there will be a part of us that will help create that. So I prefer not to give out information about what may be coming in the future. And the other level of that, especially at the moment, there's a lot of talk about third dimensional and fifth dimensional and the opening of portals and the changes that are coming in, and I really believe that. So when I look forward on different timelines, there isn't just one particular timeline, there is a myriad of them. And for me, there is two very clear, distinct, and we were talking about paths separate, changing, diverging in the woods with Robert Frost, and which one we're choosing to walk on, and that can change from moment to moment, and that will actually have an impact on the way my storytelling goes. So this is why I prefer not to try and say what's going to happen in the future, because I believe that there are so many different paths and there's so many different ways that we can actually influence. We've been given freedom of choice for a reason, and what I don't want to do is set somebody up for a path that may not actually be theirs. So this is why my storytellings tend to be around the here and now, the bits of our past that we may not have cleared to be able to walk forward along the way. So that to me is why I don't. Every now and again when I'm doing a storytelling for an individual, I have guides and they come through and they will give me a indication that something may be coming in. But again, what I've noticed, especially over the past couple of years, is that trying to get a specific timeline is really, really difficult. And it's sort of like very much an estimate, and I would prefer people not to put their lives on hold on a possibility. I could have put my life on hold for that train trip with a glass of champagne. I could have forced that to happen and my life would have been completely different, I guess. But I'm really happy and comfortable with the way and the choices that I've made, although some have been painful, as most of our lives can be. But it's helped bring a deeper appreciation of me and how I choose to sit in the universe at the moment. And I'm really comfortable with that. So I'm hoping that sort of helps people out there listening to this in having a bit more of an understanding about it. So when I'm doing these storytellings for us on a daily basis, and I do believe it is all of us that are watching, because all of our energies are in and sort of in that focus, some things will come through and somebody watching this will go, oh yeah, that makes complete and utter sense. It's that real resonating, that real gut feeling. And for others, they'll just sit there and go, oh, okay, that's a nice story. And that's why I call it storytelling as opposed to card readings. Although I do use the language sort of crossing over, but for me it is a storytelling, so that some bits will actually make complete sense. And I hope that the way that I put it across will actually help sort of lift something to the surface so that you can sort of examine it and sit more comfortably within yourself, so that when you're making a choice as to how you're going forward, that actually makes more sense to you and you can do it in control and you can act on different things. You can actually put things in motion for yourself without reacting to things coming in on a regular basis. So that being said, I think we'll draw a crystal today. Well, we'll draw a crystal every day, but we'll do that now. So I'd like you all to just focus and we'll see what comes out today. So we've got amethyst today, and amethyst for me is the third eye chakra. And it's about, we have our visual eyes that we look out on a regular basis. But for me, it's the third eye is connecting back with the solar plexus, but being able to see beyond the physical in a way that we can, and it's back to what I just said about reacting, that actually is taking that breath and looking at it from our different eye, from our intuition, and it's allowing spirit to come through and listening to our higher self in the way that we move forward and how we're guided. So that's a little bit of that's the information that's coming through at the moment. If you focus on the cards for me. They're really jumping today. None jumped out yet. That's just previous 2 days. Okay, and I'm going to split them because I quite like splitting. Yep. You disappeared on me. Lots of energies today. Lots of energies. Okay. Okie dokie. So, and yes, there are times when I'm tempted to redo them, but this is what's coming out for the collective. So we've got the scythe again, which I think we ended up yesterday, and then the owl, and then the heart. Okay. Right. So, starting with the scythe and cutting cords, which we were talking about yesterday. And especially around our third eye and intuition is cutting from reality. I don't know. It's come through as cutting from reality. So it's being discerning about what we're actually physically seeing. So in what's going off on the news, how we're interacting with other people. It's that taking a step back, as I was talking about yesterday, that we have lines of attachments from other people that are no longer suiting us. And it's cutting that, but it's enabling us to actually focus back on the third eye, on being spiritually aware is coming through. So it's sitting back down. I'm being told sitting back down and taking that moment to breathe, lifting off the veil from our third eye so that we can intuit more, we can connect more with our higher self, that our soul, whatever you want to call it, that we can connect back up into other aspects of the world that's going, and that leads back into our solar plexus in having those inspirations and being able to see on a different level. So, and it's also going back to what I was saying at the beginning with how the timelines are so different, and it's sort of having a look at what's out there, sort of realizing that we may be on a particular path that we don't feel comfortable with, that it's not resonating for us, and it's not making us feel magical, making us get up in the morning thinking, yay, I've got my day to do. If we're feeling stuck and stagnant and we can't clear, and we feel like we've lost that, we've lost that magic, we've lost that spark of being able just to watch a sunset or a sunrise. Although, to be fair, I can't get up early enough in the morning at the moment for a sunrise. But it's sort of clearing through that negativity, and sort of that incoming of sort of solid stories that sort of don't sit right for us. So I'm going into the owl, and the owl is about whispers. So for me at the moment, what's coming through is our thoughts were programmed in a way from a very young age to have a certain expectation about how our lives are meant to be, and I put meant to be in inverted commas, that it is back to that where we're told that we're meant to go to school every day, we're meant to go to work every day to earn enough money to be able to pay our bills and hopefully have enough when we retire. And it's that sort of whispering going off in the background. And at the moment what's coming through is sort of back to having that clear space to be able to hear the whispers of our soul coming through, so that we actually know what gives us joy and know what gives us that spark of creativity and moving forward. It's also saying to me at the moment, for people out there, be aware and cautious of those around you, that they may be saying things behind your back, or have said things to your face that feel really uncomfortable, but you can't quite see. So again, for the past few readings as well, I talked about communication and that linkage between meta communication and verbal communication, the underneath, where you have a conversation with somebody, and although the words on top sound perfectly okay, you're left with this sort of sick feeling underneath, and you're reacting, and it's back to that reacting. And it's being able to cut off from reacting to these things and giving yourself space and time to sit, so that you're no longer reacting. You can see that some of these words, the words and the narratives are designed to create a response from us, and we don't have to react in that way. We can actually cut through those words, those different stories that are coming in, so that we can actually look after our heart, which is what's coming out next, is the heart. It's nurturing our heart, unconditional love. But we are entitled to look after ourselves as well, that we don't have to have daggers in the heart and feel chronic and feel like we're not good enough or worthy, that we are actually all worthy. That might be that we're doing things in a different way, but that's okay, as long as that sits comfortably for us here. And it's that connection between heart and third eye. So connecting with spirit, connecting with our soul, connecting with, I call it my higher self, that is a part of me, is an aspect of me that I am attempting to bridge the gap between the two, so that I feel comfortable in all the interactions I have with other people. So it is about, this reading for me is about taking time just to sit and feel into what's true and real for us, connecting our heart with our third eye, so connecting our heart with source, with our higher self, God, whatever we'd like to call it, but that spiritual aspect, our inner knowing of what is right for us. And we all have it, but we don't give ourselves a chance to breathe and just sit with it. So, but in sitting with it, we'll notice the different lines coming in, the different stories that are being told that are meant to sort of set us off in a certain motion, that we end up reacting in fear or stress or anger. But in coming back and sitting with our heart in relationship to our spiritual self, our third eye, our higher self, that we're able to determine what doesn't fit for us, and within that we can actually cut those ties off, and we can actually hear the whispers, the good whispers and the bad whispers, what bits actually resonate and feel right for us in who we would like to be in the world, and what bits don't. And those bits that don't, we're allowed to actually cut, and as I was saying yesterday, pop into Gaia so it can be transmuted. We don't have to send it back. We don't have to react angrily. We can actually take a breath and actually pop that through down into Gaia to be transmuted, so that we have that loving connection between our heart and our third eye, and our third eye into spirit. So I hope that resonates and makes sense to some of you out there. I never know. I really don't know what cards are going to come out, and as I say, there is that temptation to stop and redo, but I don't do that. This is about what needs to come out, and this clearly is what needs to come out today. So, and we'll go into today's sound and vibration and see what connects for us all. Thank you all so much for joining me. I really appreciate it. If you haven't already, please hit that subscribe button. And as I say, I'm going to put a link in for my website if you're interested in having an individual storytelling for yourselves. Thank you very much for joining me today. I really appreciate it. Take care. Love you.